Moments fam, it's Alyssa. So thank you so much for being here today. Today's focus is going to be on backbends. So if you're anything like me, working room, okay, there's Charlie. He definitely wants his moment on the screen today. If you're anything like me, sitting at home and working from home, we're tucking the pelvis under and rounding the back, or Netflix and chilling way too much. So this practice is going to help us get into a little bit of our back bends, open up the chest a little bit more, strengthen through the back a little bit as well. So we're going to start with a little bit of centering around a heart focus. So find an easy seat, whatever that looks like for you, nice and tall in the spine. Relax the shoulders away. And then you're going to take your right hand and put it over your heart, and then your left hand over that. All right, take a big breath in. Ease your breath out. All right, from here, soften or close the eyes. So in this space, we're going to focus our attention around our heart. We're going to focus our attention on the space around the heart, in front, behind, the sides. Perhaps beginning to feel the heartbeat in your chest. Then begin to focus your breath as if it were coming in and out of your heart space. Again, as if that breath, each inhalation and exhalation coming in and out of your heart. And then in this space, recall a positive feeling or experience. And then feel this experience fully in your heart. Feel it as if the moment were here now. Our goal is to hold on to this feeling throughout our practice this evening. Two more breaths. With each inhale, bringing that feeling deeper into yourself. And as you feel ready, allow your eyes to flutter open. Release the hands down. Move through the fingers and the hands. Point and flex the wrists. As you take an inhale, sit nice and tall. Drop your head over and listen to your left shoulder. And then drop the chin towards the chest. And then listen to your right shoulder. And then drop the chin down towards your chest. Bring the hands to the shins, round the back. And then inhale, lift the chest to just a basic seated cat-cow. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, lift yourself up. One more time, round the back. And lift the chest. And then nice and tall. So inhale, both arms up overhead. Take that left hand over to your right knee, right hand behind the right hip. So something I want you to try here, think about pulling this right hip forward. It's subtle, it's a tiny little movement, but see how that changes your twist. And then lift up the right shoulder. Can you bring the right shoulder any further back without letting the hip come back? And then inhale the arms up overhead, and then exhale to the other side. So same thing here. So allow that left hip to come forward, but then allow the left shoulder to come back. A couple of deep breaths here. And then inhale both arms up overhead. Bring the hands back down to the heart space. Bring the thumbs to the heart and allow the head to just drop down. Connect once again in that feeling, that positive feeling that you're recalling. Take one more breath in. And then on an exhale, either swing the legs around or roll over crossed ankles and come to a tabletop position. So we'll start with our basic cat-cow. Wrists and elbows directly underneath shoulders, knees directly underneath hips. Inhale, lift the head, lift the tail. Exhale, tuck the pelvis under, allow the spine to go long for the ride, drop the head down to the ground. Move the opposite way, lift the tail, let the spine flow, crown of the head lifts. 2 more times, round the back. So once again, as a reminder, let this movement come from the pelvis and not necessarily from the push and pull in the spine. After this cow, bring yourself to a neutral spine. So we're going to barrel roll the spine. So find length first. Lift the belly button towards the spine. Reach the crown of the head forward. And then drop the rib cage and the hips to the left, up, back, and out. Keep big circle here. 2 more times. Big circle. And last big circle. Bring yourself to stillness and then switch directions. So big circle. Let that spine come along for the ride. Find that barrel roll. And the last one here. And then gently bring yourself to center. Lift the spine nice and long. Big toes together, knees apart, sink the hips back. Find child's pose. So in this child's pose, come up onto tented fingers and walk the hands a little further forward. Drop the forehead towards the floor. Find a little bit of length there. Big breath in. As we exhale, sink the hips a little closer towards the heels, but try and keep the hands planted where they are. Slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Lift yourself back up into that tabletop position. Cat-cow one more time. And then tuck the toes under. Lift the knees off the floor and walk the feet to the hands, coming to a forward fold at the top of the mat. Soften the knees as much as you need to take some tension out of those hamstrings. Drop the crown of the head forward. Interlace opposite thumb into your elbow crease. Drop the crown of the head down. Maybe sway side to side. And then bring yourself to center. Bring the hands to the shins or the thighs as we inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it down. 2 more times. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Last time, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it down, soften the knees, roll yourself, take your time all the way up to standing. Once you get there, roll the shoulders a few times. So once you come to standing, take a peek at your feet and make sure that your heels are underneath your knees and your hips. Press the soles of the feet into the floor, stand tall out of the heels. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. So sweep the hands around, interlace the fingers, press the knuckles down, open the chest, look up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in and a breath out. Release the hands, walk the feet as wide as the mat, slightly turn the toes out. Interlace the hands again, but the opposite way. So whatever finger was on top, switch to the other way. And that's going to feel super weird. But press the knuckles down to the floor, open the chest, inhale, breath in, look up. Exhale, soften the knees. Exhale, melt yourself forward. Drop the crown of the head down. Keep the forearms attached to the back of the body, or if you can, keep the hands fully clasped and then reach the hands away from you. Unlock the elbows. Take tension out of the chest. And then as you exhale, allow the hands to melt down to the floor. Rock yourself side to side. Transfer the weight left and then right. Left and right. Bring yourself to center. Heel toe the feet back to hip distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and rise. Exhale, bring the hands down into our heart space. Pause. So either stay there or stack right hand and then left. Soften the eyes. Come back into that breath. Come back into that feeling, that sensation of breath. That feeling, that sensation of heart space. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hinge it forward. Soften the knees, bring the fingertips in touch with the floor, right foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Sink that right heel back, sink the hips down, and then allow the right knee to come down to the floor. Untuck the toes. Double check that your left knee and ankle are stacked. And as you take your next exhale, drag the right hip forward. And then slowly roll yourself up so that your shoulders and hips are stacked over those hips. Our right hip flexor is probably saying some words right now. Bring the hands to the thigh or heart center, or maybe even overhead. Relax the shoulders away. Biceps start to hug towards the ears. Take a full breath in. And then exhale, hinge forward, tuck the right toes under, step the right foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, same thing to the opposite side. Left foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Sink the hips. Left knee comes down to the floor, untuck the toes. On your next exhale, drag the left hip forward. So it's very similar to when we were seated in our twist. And then as you take your next inhale, rise up. Hands come to the thigh or heart center. Find your balance first. So again, feel that left hip flexor saying some words. Stay there, or perhaps reach the arms up overhead. Breath in. Full steady breath out. And then exhale, hinge forward. Fingertips come in touch with the floor. Left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Soften the knees. Rise all the way up. Exhale, bring the hands into our heart space. Right hand, then left stack. Come into your breath. Come into that feeling. One more time, big breath in. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it forward, fingertips in touch with the floor, right foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat, sink the hips, drop that right knee down to the ground, untuck the toes. Inhale, rise up, hands come to the front thigh or to heart center. So remember, squaring those hips so that right hip's dragging forward. We're going to take the left forearm and place the left forearm on the left thigh, lift the right shoulder up and back, and then reach the right arm back. So it's an opening twist. So really feeling that right hip flexor right now. I don't know about you, but after all that sitting, it's a little extra cranky. Take one more breath in. And then bring yourself towards center. Allow the right hand and left to come to the floor. Right foot steps forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Fingertips in touch with the floor. Left foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Left knee comes down to the ground. All right, so square off those hips. That left hip drags forward. Rise yourself up to the thigh or to heart center. And then bringing that right forearm to the right thigh. Lift that left shoulder up and back and reach the left hand back. Couple of breaths here. And again, still keeping the hips squared. So even though we're opening here, we don't necessarily want this twist to come from the hips. We want it to come from the mid-back. Take a breath. And then sweep that hand down. Both hands come to the floor. Left foot steps forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, dive it forward. Drop the head down. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, bring the hands down into heart center. This time, we're going to come to a standing camel. So take the hands, two options. You can either put them in your back pockets like you're wearing a pair of jeans, or turn the hands up and walk them so that the fingertips are touching the bottom of the ribs. And press into the back and point the elbows back. As soon as we do this, the ribs start wanting to pop out. So take a breath in, pull the elbows towards each other, lean back, look up at the ceiling. Easy breath here. So watch that we're not sticking our butt out as we do this. Keep the hips over the knees, over the heels. Pull the elbows back. And then as you exhale, soften the knees, melt yourself forward, release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, dive it forward. Hands in touch with the floor, right foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Right knee drops down to the floor, untuck the toes. You may want to grab a towel or a blanket or double up the mat. From here, inhale, lift yourself up, bringing the hands to the shin or to heart center. Point the right toes towards the ceiling, left forearm to left thigh. Reach that right arm back, and if you can, hang onto the pants or onto the foot. Open through the heart. Little bit of a back bend here. Open through the chest. Quadricep stretch. Yeah. Lose your balance a little bit. That's okay. One more breath. And then release that foot, cartwheel, both hands down to the ground. Right foot steps forward to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps all the way back to the end of the mat. Left knee comes down to the ground. All right, so find your rise up. And then right forearm comes to right thigh. Left toes points towards the ceiling. Left arm reaches back. Perhaps totally lose your balance. And then reach for that foot. So find an easy breath here. So when we get into these quadriceps especially, we have a tendency, the quadriceps have a tendency to trigger our fight or flight response. So can we slow the breath down? Can we pay attention intentionally to the breath? Slowly release that leg down, bring both hands down to the ground. Step the left foot forward to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Right hand, then left. Find your breath. Long breath in. Can you come back to that breath? Can you come back to that sensation of emotion, of love, of compassion? Release the hands down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge it forward. Soften the knees, bring the hands in touch with the floor. Walk the knees back into our tabletop position. Move through a few rounds of cat-cow here. So taking that resistance and tension out of the back. After the next rounded back cat, we're going to bring our feet towards each other, but not touching like child's pose. We're going to bring the knees a little bit wider, but not as wide as child's pose. And we're going to keep our hips directly over our knees. We're going to come to an extended puppy. I just like this wider base. I find it provides a little bit more support. So press into the shins, walk the hands like 4 handprints in front of where they are now. Drop yourself down to your forearms. And then hips stay up in the air as we lower the forehead to the floor. Perhaps you stay there, or perhaps you lift the chin and rest the chin on the earth. If that's more than what your body's looking for right now, or if you're smashing your nose in the ground, let your forehead come to rest. Take a couple of simple breaths. One more breath. Slowly lift the head, roll yourself forward, come down onto your abdominals. Come to Makrasana. So we're going to stack our hands, rest the forehead on the hands. Take a couple of breaths in here. If your lower back is feeling a little cranky, put a bend into the knees and windshield wipe the heels from side to side. Slowly bring yourself back to center. Allow those feet to come back to the ground. So we're going to start off with a basic cobra. So bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And just start by lifting, using the lower back, lift up. Exhale down. So it's just a gentle flow. Inhale and lift. Exhale, float down. Come up onto tented fingers, lift. This way we guarantee we're using the back and not necessarily the hands. So we're going to switch to a shoulder rolling cobra. So as we press the hands into the floor this time, roll left and right shoulder as we lift. Roll your shoulders as you come down. Let this be kind of fluid. Roll the shoulders up and roll the shoulders down. One more time. Roll the shoulders up and roll the shoulders down. Stack the hands, Makrasana. Long breath in. So release the hands around to your sides. Rest either your chin or your forehead. We're going to press the backs of the hands, just the fingernails press into the floor. On your next inhale, the only thing that you're going to continue to press into the floor is your hips and your fingernails. So take an inhale and lift everything up. Press the nails into the floor. Lift the heels towards the ceiling. Feel the whole back of the body. Lift up a little higher as we inhale. Exhale, let your left cheek come down to the ground. Breath in. Breath out. One more time. So press the fingernails into the floor. Lift the chin towards center. As we inhale, lift yourself. Hips and fingernails press into the floor. Big breath in. Long breath out. Find that gentle heart-opening back bend here. Can you lift any higher? And then exhale, melt. Let the right cheek come down to the floor. Let the shoulders rest. Let yourself melt. Nice job. So slowly lift yourself up into a Sphinx pose. Letting the forearms press into the floor. Turn the palms over so the palms are pressing into the floor, not the fists. So you want to have as much pressure there as possible. Let the tops of the feet press into the floor. Zip the front of the pelvis up so the back stays nice and long. Shoulders come away from the ears. In our Sphinx, we want to make sure that the shoulders and the elbows are stacked right on top of each other. Take a big breath in. And a long breath out. And you know we can't do a full class without any core. So tuck the toes under. So this is our Sphinx to forearm plank. So you're going to tuck the toes under, lift the knees and maybe even the thighs off the floor, and then use your core to lift everything else up. Your gaze is going to be like in between your thumbs, maybe a little further forward. Take a breath in, and then we're going to melt the knees and the hips back down to the ground and tuck the toes. Sphinx pose. Can we do that 2 more times? I think we can. Tuck the toes under. Shoulders away from the ears. Peeling from the belly button. Then the hips, lifting it up. Press through the heels. Keep that breath going. You've totally got this. And then melting knees, thighs, hips. One more time. You got this. There's a reason, just so you know. Tuck the toes under. Press the heels back. Lift the thighs. From the belly button, rise up. Find your forearm plank. Full breaths in and out. Just because we're in plank doesn't mean we can stop breathing. And then lower the knees down to the ground. One last time, discover your Makrasana, rest the forehead. Rock the hips side to side. Bring yourself to center. Bring the hands, excuse me, underneath the shoulders. Tuck the toes under. Lift yourself up into a tabletop position, but keep the toes tucked under. So from this tabletop position, we're going to come to standing on our knees, once again with the toes tucked under, and find some length in the spine. So from here, ears, shoulders, and hips are stacked directly over the knees. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead. So just like we did before when we were standing, cartwheel the hands all the way back, and either put the hands in the back pockets or turn them to face up the spine. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, slowly lift the heart, which is totally different than dropping yourself back. Keep the chest open, elbows pull back, find a gentle breath. And then lift yourself up. See, that's where that core comes from. Untuck the toes, sit back on your heels. Breathe. So if you didn't breathe during that last series, you're going to get another opportunity to practice breathing in that pose here. All right, so lift yourself up, come to standing on the knees, tuck the toes under, nice and tall in the spine, ears, shoulders, hips. All right. So a couple of options. You can either hands in the back pocket or point the fingers up the back or take one big swim back. So inhale the arms up and then turn the pinkies back, cartwheel the hands back and find your heels. Lift the heart. Ustrasana, camel pose. Tuck the chin down, not up and back. Not into the chest, down. Protect that neck. Big breath in. Long, steady breath out. Unlock the elbows. Look at the dust bunnies up on your ceiling. All right, here's where that Sphinx forearm plank comes in. Use the front of the body to lift yourself up. Untuck the toes. Sit down on the heels. Right hand over heart, left hand over heart. Soften the eyes. Breathe. Come to that gentle breath. Release the hands down. Swing the legs around. We're going to come down onto our back, so bring the feet towards the top of the mat, laying yourself down onto the mat. So from here, walk the heels in towards the glutes. We've got one little thing of work left to do today. So allow the hands to come down at your sides. Tuck the shoulder blades under. That's going to help protect the neck. Press the palms of the hands into the floor as you lift the hips into a bridge pose. I like to also secondarily tuck the shoulders under once I get up again. So option to stay here with the hands pressed into the floor, or interlace the fingers behind the back, pressing the pinky into the floor. Take a breath in. So then watch here, we have a tendency to tip the pelvis forward. So lengthen through the lower back. Your quadriceps should light up right there. Press the left foot into the floor, extend the right leg straight. Ooh.
Feel that glute fire? I do. Allow the right foot to come down to the floor. Lift the hips once again. Left leg goes straight. Breathe. Allow that left foot to come down to the floor. Release the clasp of the hands, one vertebrae at a time from top to bottom. I like to lift my heels and lower, tucking the pelvis under all the way down. Once the last vertebrae hits the ground, bring the soles of the feet together, knees go wide. Supta Baddha Konasana. And then take the hands either to a T or into goalpost arms. Soften your eyes. Take a few breaths. Option to stay here for your Shavasana. Or bringing the hands to the outsides of the thighs, allowing the knees, helping the knees to come together, and then extending the legs out. Finding your corpse pose. Staying here as long as you need. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.